everyone, welcome back to Feather Stitch House. My name's Rebecca and each week on this channel I upload videos about embroidery and textile art to help you get creative. We're in week 3 of our August stitch along for the Winging It project, and this month we've been focusing on the Olympic Games, and today we are focusing in more closely on achievements and looking at medals. Now, we've got some medal wins to celebrate throughout the Olympics, whatever country you're in, but we've also got a medal to award ourselves in this community, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we're going along. You're going to need some ribbon, some sequins and beads in maybe gold, silver and bronze, and if you've got some gold fabric, that would be really useful as well. We're going to try a new technique a little bit later on, and we're going to have a little bit of a chat along the way. So gather all your bits and pieces and let's get stitching.
Right, this is where we got up to last time. We made our Olympic rings. Wonder if you saw the closing ceremony. It was fabulous, totally bizarre. Felt like I'd entered some sort of fever dream, but worth watching if you didn't catch any of it. So we use different techniques to create our 5 Olympic rings, and now we've got now the Olympics have closed, we can focus on other things. So we're going to create some slow stitch circles, but because we're still close to the end of the Olympics, I wanted to make a record of our medals. Now, I've looked through my ribbons. I did find this bit of blue satin ribbon, but it's looking a little bit ragged, and what I want to do is have a band across the bottom where we log all the medals that our country won. So Britain did pretty well. I think we got 65. I will double check it and check the proportions in a second, but I want to reflect that with beads and sequins, and I want a tape across the bottom like that. I really don't like that ribbon, it's too shiny. It's a bit more matte on the back. We could probably get away with that, maybe. I wondered if some sari silk ribbon would work better. I don't think I've got any like royal blue, I think it's all this turquoise. So it would be a choice between red or green. So let's see what we prefer. So that's red. I quite like that. Now that's a good match. It looks a lot more blue-green on camera than it does in real life, but I think it matches that pretty well. It's almost exactly the same colour. I know they look a bit different on camera, but so that's green. Let's make a judgment. It does help me to look at it through the camera rather than just in real life, perhaps because of the angle that I'm working at. I don't know. That's red. Oh, rats. Do you know what? I think I prefer the blue. I think I prefer the blue. I like the blue the best. I think because there's so much green in the bubble print, I don't want it to be green. And just maybe the red is a bit strong. And I always do red. I think I'm going to go blue. So I think we'll go with the matte side, or should we have a bit more texture? It's all very matte. Oh, let's just go for it. It's going to have 65 things stitched onto it anyway. I'm trying not to buy anything else, and I wanted ribbon that was about that wide, and I just didn't have anything in my stash other than this scratty bit. I can't for the life of me remember where it came from. So what I'm going to do first of all is bring in my aperture, because I just want to make sure that I'm not cutting out anything important. So that's what the panel's going to look like. So I want to position it kind of here. So I'm just going to measure how far up that line is. So it's just about 5.5 centimetres. So 5.4 centimetres it is. I'm just going to put a mark here and just dot some lines across that. These will disappear, but this is my heat erase pen, but I don't want them to mix too much with the printing ink and sort of start smudging it, so I'm just trying to be really cautious. So we're going to start off with our medals table, and I'm going to do something else medley as well, but we'll get to that shortly. So I hope everybody's okay and is having a good August so far. Can't believe we're so far through it. It's a bit of a shocker, it's going too fast for my liking. So I'm going to get some pins and just quite carefully, because I don't want to damage the ribbon. This is quite low quality. I've got no idea where I got this bit of ribbon from, because it's not a colour I would have bought. It must have been part of some packaging, I think. I'm not a royal blue kind of person, but every now and again it's exactly the right colour, and now's the time. So I do tend to keep ribbon that I get as packaging. I'm just going to pin that on, and we're going to do a really simple applique stitch. I've got some embroidery thread here, that's Anchor 132. You could just use machine cotton for this if you want to. And I think we'll do 2 strands just to be secure. If you wanted to do a contrasting colour, that would be fine as well. I'm going to use quite a small needle. I know I usually use big chunky needles, but a big needle is going to pull at that ribbon more than I want it to. And so I'm just going to be cautious. So here we go, we're just going to applique stitch this on. So come up through both. We do applique all the time, but if this is your first time here, right, so we've come up through both layers just at the edge. So along the edge of the ribbon there's a little bound edge where it's been woven. We're going to come up just into that bound edge, and then we're going to go down, tucking our needle right up against the edge of the ribbon, but just through the backing fabric. Once we get going, it's easier to do this in one motion, but it's hard to show you what I'm doing if I do it in one motion. So come along about 0.5 centimetre, up through both layers and down through just the backing fabric. I do occasionally seem to push through some of my wadding. It's just quilt batting on the background. You just pull that away. So along about 0.5 centimetre, tuck against the edge of the ribbon, and this is what I mean by one motion. So now I can rock the needle, and the natural motion takes into account the thickness of the fabric, and if you just let the needle tip up where it naturally wants to, you'll get really nicely evenly spaced stitches. So if you worry about the evenness of your stitching, sometimes rocking your needle can be the answer you're looking for. So yeah, I hope everybody's well. We're having quite a busy old time. So we've got our next workshop happening in just a week from now, next Saturday, and so we're busy getting ready for that. We've also got some enormous shows coming up in the autumn, which we're really excited about. So now I've mentioned it, I'll tell you where we're going. So we're going to be at the Big Textile Show in Leicester in October, which we're super excited about. We've not done that show before. And we're stretching ourselves a little bit because we've never done a really massive show. So just to interrupt myself, you can see that this is quite scratty looking ribbon, and sewing it is making it worse. So you can just trim off any pulls like that. It'll all be covered up. I'm not going to worry too much. So we're also going to the Creative Craft Show, which is at the NEC in Birmingham, and I have to say I am properly nervous about it. We've never done a show that big. The biggest show we did was down in Exeter at West Point Arena, and that was pretty big. We met some amazing people, other traders who were just so fabulous, so encouraging, so supportive, and it's lovely to know that the textile community is just such a lovely place to be, because I've worked in jobs where it's quite toxic and competitive, and I suppose if you work with textiles and soft things, it's hard to be unpleasant, even though it's quite stressful, running your own business and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, we met some wonderful people. One in particular, let me give a shout out to. You can head over. She just started a YouTube channel back in March. Her name is Louise Nichols, and I will link her channel in the description below because she's just so lovely. Go over and say hello, and she basically talks you through sort of what her kits are like. She's the most incredible textile artist. I absolutely love her work. She has got a background in surface design, so she designed patterns for fabric. I'm sure I'm getting this right. And her kits are lino prints that you embellish with applique and stitch, and they're so beautiful. So have a look at her YouTube channel, watch a few of her videos, give her some likes, and let's get some traction for her, because she's just starting out and she's such a wonderful human being. I think her channel is called Stitching and Life. Should have been more prepared, shouldn't I? I didn't even know I was going to mention Louise, so hi Louise. We need to support each other, don't we? So yeah, check her out. She's got an Etsy shop, and I think she's going to do a Christmas stitch along of one of her kits, so now's the time to get on board with that. So she was really encouraging because we were just about to launch workshops, and workshops really are her bread and butter. She doesn't do that many shows, but she was super encouraging and gave us loads of advice and all of that. So it's nice to send a bit of good vibes back her way. And you're all so lovely. I just love this little Feather Stitch House community on YouTube so much. You are wonderful people, and she could do with some of you in her corner as well. There's a few YouTubers that I love, actually. If you haven't come across Night Owl Crafts and Collectibles, that's another channel that I think is marvellous. So she doesn't do voiceovers particularly, but she does little slow stitch panels, really small ones most of the time, 3-inch squares, and she's doing a tea series, so I'm a particular fan of that one as a tea drinker. I don't drink a lot of coffee, hardly ever drink coffee, but I have a fairly expansive selection of teas in my cupboard. So this morning I had a lemongrass tea by Tea Pigs, very nice, and I've got a few favourite teas. If I'm wanting just a brew, a cuppa, it's Yorkshire tea, but I do really enjoy a whole range of herbal teas and fruit teas and all of that kind of stuff as well. And she's doing a set, she's got a little book that all her teacups are going into. So my favourite one so far is her lemon and honey tea. She made a honey dipper. I think they're called driezels. Little wooden balls with slots that you dip into honey. She made one of those in a really clever way, so have a check that out as well. So I think she's brilliant. She's a much bigger channel than me, but I watch pretty much everything she does. I think she's fabulous. So go say hi to these people. Right, there you go. I've prattled on long enough. There you go with my YouTube recommendations. I forgot what I was saying. I was telling you about shows. So yeah, Creative Craft Show at the NEC. That is right at the end of half-term break here in the UK. 31st of October to the 3rd of November. We're going to be there. I'm terrified. Please come and say hi. It will mean the world to me. Anyway, I'll come back to that shortly. So I'm just going to stitch the other one down. That's my applique along the top. I'm going to just stitch along the bottom to finish that band, and then I'll come back. Okay, we're back. I've attached my blue ribbon and I've just scored. I just literally sawed a little bit with my ruler. If you've got one of those marking tools that scores, you could use that. I don't have one, I can't remember what they're called. I've just marked the edges of where my binding will come to. So I've used my aperture and just marked in where the edges of the binding are, and you can see here I've sorted out some gold sequins. So I've chosen a little round gold flat sequin. I was surprised, I thought I had loads more silver things, but the only thing I had that was silver were these little silver stars, which I quite like. And I did have some bronzy ones, but they looked too similar to the gold. So I know these are more copper colour, but I wanted something that was definitely different. So I've got some faceted cup sequins there, and just to bronze them up a bit because they're a bit orangey, I've got some bronze seed beads and I'm going to attach those with seed beads. So I've got a straw needle here. I've checked that it goes through the seed beads. I've threaded it up with a single strand of embroidery thread, and what I thought I'd do is add these beads and sequins in the order that the medals were won through the Olympics. So rather than doing the golds, the silvers, the bronzes, I'm going to do them in order. So I have got a website here. It's literally olympics.com. I think you can put in your country and it'll tell you what order the medals. You can do it by day and it'll tell you what order the medals were won in. So I won't list every single one, but I'll just start off and show you I'll name maybe the first 10. Let's do the first 10. And obviously I've got 65 to fit along here, depending on where you are based. America. How you're going to fit them all on, I don't know. I suspect you're going to have to use smaller sequins, maybe beads, because I think you got double what we got. Um, so beads might be a good option. You could use buttons, whatever works for your nation. So the first medal that was won for the UK, I'm not going to say we because I'm not an Olympian, but Team GB, the first medal was a silver medal, and that was Anna Henderson on the first day of the Olympics, 27th of July, and that was a cycling individual time trial medal. So congratulations to Anna Henderson. I'm just going to put some stitches over the angles. I will not make you watch me stitch on 65 of these. We could be here all day. A quicker way of doing it is the way I'm going to do the bronze medals, so you could do them all like that if you wanted. I'll show you that one next. I've chosen black just because I thought it might look a bit garish if I use all the other colours. Black seems more neutral. So there's our first silver. And then the second medal, also on the 27th of July, was won by Yasmin Harper and Scarlett Mew Jensen. And that was synchronised 3-metre springboard diving. And they won a bronze. So for the bronzes, I'm going to add, I just want it ever so slightly further over, just so that it's clearly in order. It's like a photo finish. So I'm going to come up through the sequin with my needle, and this one I'm not going to go over the edges. I'm going to get a bead. I'm hoping this is enough to attach it. Thread a bead on and then go back down through the hole, and if the bead doesn't pull through the hole, there we go, we've got a bronze medal. And then the third medal was also bronze, so I'm going to do that again. So sequin, bead, and then back through the hole on the sequin. Like that. So that's our first 3. I'm now going to put a knot on the back because all of these are joined together. If my thread breaks now, I'm only going to lose 3. I'm not going to lose them all. Okay, so medal number 4. Oh no, sorry. Medal number 3, that was Kimberly Woods. She won a bronze in the women's slalom canoe. So congratulations to Kimberly Woods. Medal number 4 was Adam Peaty. He's a bit of a hero, I think, in the UK. That was a silver. He won that on the second day of the games. I like these stars. So Adam Peaty won his for the 100 metres breaststroke in swimming. And then everybody's favourite in the UK, the next one was Tom Daley and Noah Williams. They won a silver in the men's synchronised 10-metre platform dive. Tom Daley's a bit of a superstar because I think he went to the, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think his first Olympics he was only 14 years old, and so he's been well known in the UK for many years now. I think it's his 4th Olympics, and he's overcome a lot of sort of personal struggle and things like that. So lovely guy, and knits I believe. I think he still knits. I think he's on Instagram with all his knitting projects. He does it for mindfulness, to get his head in the right place. On day 3 of the games, on the 29th of July, there was a gold, and that was in equestrian. It was the eventing team. That was Rosalind Cantor, Laura Collett and Tom McEwen, and they got Team GB's first gold. So we finally get a gold sequin. Here we go, and you could do this with a big French knot if you wanted to. I think I'm just going to go over the sides a couple of times. Maybe I'll just do this one with 2 stitches across it, just so they all look different. There we go. So that's our first 6 medals. There we go. We've got bronze, silver and gold. The next medal was Tom Pidcock and he also won a gold. And I bet you're all shouting at the screen saying you're never going to fit 65 of those on. I've only got 14 gold and 22 silver. There's 29 bronzes, so they're going to take up much less space, so I reckon I'm going to be okay. So Tom Pidcock got his for the mountain bike cycling men's cross country, so he won gold. The 8th medal was a silver. That was Adam Burgess, who won the canoe slalom. Then there was Laura Collett, who won bronze in the equestrian again, in the individual eventing. And then medal number 10 was Matthew Richards, who won silver in the men's 200 metres freestyle. So that is the first 10 there. So I'm going to stitch those on like that, and then I'll come back. If you want to know all the rest of the medals, congratulations. Not that any of them are watching, but congratulations to all of the medal winners. The dedication and effort that it takes to get a medal at international level at anything is really momentous. So congratulations to all of our medal winners for Team GB. Oh, I've said our, look like I was involved. It's just patriotism. So yeah, I'm going to work my way along and I will come back and show you when that's done. Right, that was a bit of a labour of love. That is our medals table, and I think that I'm just looking for some paper. I think that if I were to scroll along a little bit like a finish line, if you just look at this edge, you should see the medals in the order they were achieved. So if we just look at that edge, it's silver, bronze, bronze, silver, silver, gold, gold, silver, bronze, silver, gold, gold, bronze, gold, bronze. So you see how it works. So the left hand edge of each sequin follows the sequence. I did space them out a bit too much at the start, so I tried to cluster them at the centre so that I could space the other end out as well, and I think that looks lovely, really sparkly and a nice sort of record. I think I'm going to do something similar with the Paralympics. I thought they were a bit closer together than they were, so the Paralympics doesn't start until right at the end of August. It's going to be mostly in September, so I'm thinking that September's panel will have something similar, because we want to celebrate both Olympics equally, so I think we're going to do the same thing then. Not sure yet what we're going to do for September, but it will feature a medal table, I think. So I want to give myself a medal, and I think it would be nice to each of us give ourselves a medal because we've all achieved something so far this year. So, whatever it is, I want you to think about your biggest achievement to date in 2024, and we're going to create a medal for ourselves. So, mine is really it's a medal for all of us because we have finally hit the 10k mark. So our Feather Stitch House community on YouTube is now 10,000 strong, and I can't quite believe it's real. I can't believe there are 10,000 people out there who have engaged with this channel. It absolutely blows my mind. I am just a round middle-aged woman from Birmingham, currently living in rural Lincolnshire, a total nobody who, just by posting creativity on YouTube, has built a channel. I can't quite believe it. So the first way we're going to celebrate is with a medal. It's only going to be a little medal. I've got a little bit here that's very yellow, and if you've been around for a while you'll know I don't like yellow very much. So I'm going to pop it here. So I'm just going to draw around this little circle here. We're going to use a technique that I've not done before on this channel. It's a technique called furrowing. I think that's what it's called. I'm going to be very brave and use some very temperamental fabric. I've got some gold lame here. It frays like a beast. I'm sorry about all the shine. It is a totally synthetic fabric and it frays like you wouldn't believe. So if you don't want to use anything like this, I'm going to see if it works with this. Look, there's fibres everywhere already. I do have an alternative. I've got this yellow that's got gold printed onto it. So if my metallic, I'm hoping it'll pick up some of the shimmer. If my metallic fabric doesn't work, that's my fallback. So what I've done is very loosely cut out a circle, and then just with a single strand of the black, just what was left over from sewing the beads on, I've just done a running stitch around the outside. Now I've done that for two reasons. That's a very dodgy shaped circle, doesn't matter too much. Partly because I want to gather it a bit, but I'm hoping that that's going to stop it fraying beyond where I want it. So I'm just going to gather that in a little bit. So just cut a circle. I've kind of drawn around my circle template. It doesn't show up very well on lame. I've cut with at least a 1 centimetre border, and I've just stitched around with running stitch. That's all I've done. I did it off camera just to see if it would work, and I'm just gathering it in a little bit. I don't want to gather it like I would gather if I was making a Suffolk puff or a yo-yo. I just want it to dome up like that. You basically want to gather it so that it's the same size as the circle you've drawn on. So I'm just going to gather that up a little bit more, just so that it sits roughly in the circle that you've drawn. So however big your medal is going to be, that's where you want to gather it to. So a teeny tiny bit more. There we go. So I can just tie that in a knot. Okay, so we've got our running stitch and it's got a bit of a skirt on it, and what I want to do, I've tied a knot in the end of my thread. I'm going to come up just at that line of running stitch, probably literally just inside it, and we're going to stitch this down around that circle. So I am appliquing it. It's a little bit fiddly because you've got more fabric than you need. So I'm just folding that excess under at my running stitch and stitching it down. So I'm coming up inside my running stitch line, turning under, and then going down at the line that I've drawn on my fabric. So you just got to keep your eyes on two things really while you're doing this. One eye on the line, the circle that you've drawn on your backing, and one on the fabric that you're stitching down. And you do just have to hold it because it's tricky to pin. So if you notice that there's a bit that's not very gathered, you can just ease it. It's fine. So this is a 10k medal to mark 10,000 subscribers. Who'd have thought it? That first live stream back in January 2022, where I think 5 people joined me. Absolutely amazing. So I would really like to mark this event somehow, and I think most YouTubers at like significant marker points like this do a live stream, and I used to do them once a month. I'm more than happy to do a live stream if that's something that you would like. So just drop a comment. Would you like a sort of Q&A? I don't know. You tell me. Or would you like me to make something in particular to mark 10,000 subscribers? Do you know any other YouTubers that have marked 10k or 20k? How did they do it? Can you give me any recommendations? I hadn't really thought about it because I kind of never really expected this day to ever come. And now it has. I feel like I've been caught out. Now, this method, you would actually get a very similar result if you melted some synthetic fabric. So if you heat it with a heat gun or hold it over a tea light or something like that, I recommend holding it with tweezers. You're going to get a very similar effect. So this is going to create lots of rippling and texture on the surface. Right, let's see how we go with that. Get rid of those loose fibres, and we've got this voluminous bulge here now that is sitting quite far out from the fabric. So let's hope this works. What we're going to do is just come up through from the back and up through anywhere in the fabric, and then we're going to put a tiny little stitch. So I'm going hardly any distance away from where that's come up, and I'm going to put a little stitch in, and you see already that's puckered in. So now come up somewhere else and put a little stitch in, and you can kind of manipulate it as you go. So I want all of this sitting back from that edge that I've stitched down. So the more stitches you put in, the more texture you're going to create. And where you've still got voluminous bits, all you need to do is just put a little stitch in and it will tame it and bring it back to the surface of the fabric. So we're going to, it's still going to have loads of volume, loads of texture, but it's going to be a lot flatter onto the surface of the fabric. But that flatness that we create, see, I've created a peak there, so I'm going to bring my needle up in the middle of that peak and put a little stitch there, like that, and that's created a new peak. So you just improvise it and look at where it's standing too proud, put a little stitch, and it's going to create this gorgeous textured ruffled surface. And this is my medal, which is bigger than all the Olympians' medals, not because I think my skills are greater, but their achievement isn't my achievement. So I'm celebrating something closest to me with the biggest medal. So here's the edge bit that's a little bit wibbly wobbly. So I'm just going to put in an extra stitch there to bring that edge back in and make it rounder. And then I think I'm going to dive over to the other side so that I can even up some of the furrows. See how it works? Just creating. It looks like liquid metal. It's just gorgeous. Love this technique. I've never done it in lame, so I'm really liking the look of it actually. I'm quite surprised at how much I like it because I'm not a blingy person. As you know, I do like beads, but I don't wear a lot of jewellery. I don't wear anything with like sparkle on it. It just makes me feel really self-conscious. So all my bling can go into my textiles. Oh, I love it. It kind of almost looks floral as well, which I really like because so much of what we do, I know this month is a bit of an exception, but so much of what we do is inspired by the natural world. So I quite like that it looks like a flower. I think if I was going to have a medal designed in my honour, it would be something from nature. It would be inspired by a form from nature. So this seems just right for me. So make a medal that suits you for whatever achievement you want to celebrate. Maybe you want to celebrate a graduation or an exam result or something along those lines. Maybe you have graduated yourself. My sister's currently doing a degree as a mature student, so she's got one more year to go, so this medal will be for her next year, no doubt. Maybe you have passed your driving test, got a new job, retired, or it could just be something much more sort of personal to you. Maybe you have had a bit of a breakthrough with something in your personal life. Maybe you've reached a milestone anniversary. I think any achievement deserves celebrating, so give yourself a medal. That's what we're going to do this week. Celebrating other people's medals and then finding cause to give ourselves a medal. So I hope you can see the more stitches you put in, the more texture. It gets flatter, but the more texture you create as well. So it really is a case of more is more with this technique. It just becomes increasingly interesting as you add these little holding stitches, and you can't see them, they just disappear into the folds. But there's, I think I'm going to stop there, maybe one more. Now if you want to, you can hang that medal on something. You could stitch in a medal tape. I may do that next week, but I think I'm going to leave it like that for this week. So this week's been all about medals and then next week we're just going to go slow stitch mad and add in all the rest of our circles, because we have got a 21st to celebrate as well. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circles now. I've got 19 more to add, so I wonder how we're going to do it. You'll have to come back next week and find out. So that's it for this week. We've got our Olympic medals and our personal medal added on, and we've learnt a new technique. Maybe you've learnt some new techniques for sewing on sequins and beads as well. So I'm really liking the bronze ones with the little seed beads sitting on the surface. I hope you've enjoyed that. I like how this piece is coming together, just so you've got a bit of an idea. Let's bring in the aperture. There we go. We've got our Olympic piece taking shape with our bubble background, and yeah, we'll come back next week and finish this piece off. Thanks so much for watching. If you have enjoyed that, please do hit that like button. It helps me out so much, helps this channel continue to grow. Thank you so much for helping us reach this medal milestone. Couldn't It's all about you, really. It's all about you who watch and support and like and recommend and share and all the things that you do. Thank you so much for all your comments. Thank you for being so encouraging all the time. It absolutely means the world to me. I can't tell you how much. So yeah, please do hit that thumbs up button and give us a like. And if you like what you've seen today, you can subscribe as well, and if you click the bell, you'll never miss an upload. Love to see your personal medals. Let me know what you're going to give yourself a medal for. If you feel comfortable, you can put a comment below. I will link a video up here with some other fabric manipulation techniques. If you've liked this, I'll put something up here, and I'll link the full playlist for Winging It 24 down here. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!